Hello and welcome. My name is Amanda, and today I wanted to share with you our adoption story of our newest family member, our pup Aoife. She's something. That's a good way to put it. But back in September, I started seeing Ronan's Rescue post more pictures of pups that they had for adoption. And there were a couple that I was really interested in. But when I reached out about them, they were already adopted. And Skylar finally said that he wouldn't tell me no, but he wouldn't tell me yes if I brought home another dog. So I started looking and brought a couple to his attention. And like I said, there were two that they had really sparked my attention and I was really interested in, but they were already adopted out. So as an option, we were given little Aoife here, who at the time her foster name was Irana, and her foster mom was calling her Sweet Pea. I kind of I thought she was cute. She's a little brindle girl, and I really had my heart set on a dog that was red or ginger, kind of like Ronan. But we were looking around a little bit more and just couldn't find one we liked, so we kind of kept going back to Aoife and her story and just her picture. She was an adorable little thing. They said she was good with other dogs, good with kids, which was really important to us because Ronan is obviously our first animal, and he would always take precedence in our home. And then we needed a dog that would get along with a rambunctious 7-year-old who sometimes doesn't know what a bubble is. So we basically just agreed on her, and I quickly put in an application, and it was approved basically immediately, just because I had been in contact with a couple of the adopters from the members of the rescue, and they knew that we were good parents to our previous dog we adopted from them. They knew that we would be a good home for a second dog. So we got approved really quickly, and that was on, I want to say, September 23rd, we were approved for her. And she was supposed to be on transport that night, or not that night, that weekend, to get to us. And but after we were kind of getting stuff set for transport information, we found out that she hadn't been spayed yet, and she was struggling quite a bit for probably a good 3 weeks with kennel cough. And so the vet down there didn't want to fix her because they didn't want to put her under any anesthetic and make the kennel cough any worse. So we waited about a month before we got her, and when we got to the drop-off site, so this is a rescue out of San Antonio, Texas, and Ronan found a toy under the ottoman, so he was going crazy. But we got her from San Antonio, Texas, just like Ronan. And so they basically have a couple like Ford Sprinter vans that they convert into transport vehicles for dogs. So they've got kennels and safe spaces for them to be during transportation. There are a couple different drop-off sites in Oregon and in Washington. I think there's 3 in Washington, and we chose what's typically the middle one. Hi, Ronan. Hi. And we got there about an hour early, and the drop-off was already there, so we were able to bring her home and be home at the time that we were supposed to pick her up. We were trying to coordinate it so that it wouldn't be a Maddie weekend when we got her, but that's not how it happened. We just wanted to try and make it as stressless as possible for her. But she basically settled in right away. She and Ronan were already best friends. I was a little worried that he was going to be jealous, like really jealous, because he is a Velcro dog. And he doesn't really like to share his parents. He doesn't get aggressive or anything. He just is really obnoxious. So I thought that would kind of be the case with her. And I thought she might be a little hesitant around Maddie because he is such a high energy kid. But she was fine. She found her place in the family right away. She likes to put Ronan in his place. She forces him to snuggle with her. And it's really sweet just watching them kind of learn and grow together. We're still working on teaching her good manners and whatnot. She's got a long way to come. She's a little jumper, and she also has a little alligator bite. She likes to chomp her teeth really quickly. So we're trying to work on that, but overall she's a pretty good girl. From what I know of her backstory, she was found near a garbage can on the street, and they picked her up. I don't know if there were other dogs around or what else the story was from that, but as far as I know, she was just in foster care the whole time from when she was picked up and then brought to our house. So she scarfs down her food like it's her last meal. So we're working on eating slowly and not going straight for brother's bowl and eating his food up because he'll just back up and let her have his way. He already knows. But yeah, she's a good little girl. We actually did a DNA test on her because when we adopted her, they thought she was a Dutch Shepherd or a Plot Hound. But she's a little thing. She's only 18, 19 pounds right now. And we did a DNA test, and it turns out she's 25% Australian cattle dog, 25% American Staffordshire Terrier, and then 50% of breed groups, which are just very generic. So she could be a part of like some breed that comes from one of the companion groups, which are like the pugs and the Pomeranians. I know it's also like the canids or canids. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that, but that's your wild dogs, like your coyotes and your wolves. And there's one other group, I think it was, I can never remember what it was, but it's where I think the American Staffordshire Terrier comes out, which is really interesting because looking at her, that's not at all what you would guess that she is. Skylar kind of thought she was a Tennessee treeing dog, but according to her DNA, she's not. So she's just our pretty little brindled mutt. She's got a really interesting eyeball that has a spot. I think it's, which one is it? Is it this one? I think it's her left eyeball that's got a weird little spot on it, so it looks like she's got a double pupil. But yeah, she's a good girl. She loves to snuggle. That's her favorite thing. At first we were trying to kind of keep her out of our bed because she would just invite herself up. But she would wake us up, like wake me up because someone over there sleeps like a rock. She would wake me up like 3 or 4 times in the night, jumping into our bed. Pretty early on we decided not to kennel her at night, just because she would have to be in a kennel all night and then basically only come out for an hour while I got ready for work and then have to go back into the kennel while we were both at work. So, and since she's a puppy, she's got energy, so I wanted her to kind of have freedom and build trust that way. And so far she's doing really well, but like I said, she was jumping up into bed a couple times a night, and she is very stubborn, so trying to like tell her off, she goes belly up right away. If you try to like nudge her off, she sticks her feet in hard and goes straight legged and won't get off for the world. So she's pretty little, doesn't take up a lot of room, and she she just likes to snuggle, so I've been letting her sleep in between us, which has been nice for me because then I get a solid night's sleep, but building bad habits. But you know, some scientists say that you sleep better with a dog in your bed anyway. It's got lots of health benefits, and I choose to believe that. So that's our little Aoife girl. I was really set on naming her Aoife. It's an Irish name. Just because I've always liked the name. Well, not always liked the name. I've liked the name for a couple years now, and I kind of wanted a name that would match Ronan's a little bit. And I haven't gotten to name a dog, even though these are both technically my dogs, just because I paid for them. But Skylar thought she would be look have a, Skylar thought like an Egyptian name would suit her really well because he thought she kind of looked like one of those types of dogs. But I really wanted an Irish name. So after going through, I don't even know how many dozens of names, he finally decided to let me pick the name. And it's spelled Aoife. We've even got a pronunciation guide on her name tag. That way people know how to pronounce it. There's one at the vet. That way they know how to pronounce it when they call. But she's been a good little addition to our family. We just need to work on some training, and she's going to be a perfect little girl to have in our lives for as long as you want to stay with us. So that's a kind of short and sweet condensed version of our adoption story with her. I know Ronan's was a little longer, but we had gotten to know him quite a bit better, and we had a bit more background on him than we do on Aoife. But she's just our little street dog, a little Scrappy-Doo over here, and she's a sweetheart. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I would love to know if you've rescued an animal, and if you know any of their backstory and want to share that with us down in the comments below, and I will chat with you there until my next video. Bye! You say bye? Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Are you a sweet girl?